Hi there, I'm Cheryl, and I have this Father's Day card to share with you. And this is complete with some textured sand. I'm going to show you how I did that. And then the sentiment on the inside, I went and printed it out on my computer printer. So let's get started on this. And this is what we're going to need. We need a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and that's scored and folded at 4 1/4. And from a small piece that was about 2.5 by 2, I cut this little Adirondack chair, and that was done with the die from it's the one that coordinates with Colorful Seasons. It's Seasonal Layers Thinlit dies. So I used this chair to do that, and I also used this die for our waves on the card. And then from this set also I used the Just Breathe stamp for the front. Then I have, let's see, I needed a little piece of plain Whisper White, and this is 1 by 5.5. And there's my little sentiment I printed out. And this is a piece now that's, I've cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. Then I have some colored papers. What else have I got here? Oh, okay. I don't need those. Yes, I do. I need this one. This is a piece of the regular Whisper White, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. No, I'm wrong. It's 5 1/4 by 4. Oh my. Don't worry, I'll put the right one down, the right measurement down below when I do my list of all the materials. So I have another little piece of just plain Whisper White. This is 1 by 5.5. I have a piece of mint macaron, and this is a little bit bigger than 1 by 5.5, but that's all you need is a piece 1 by 5.5. And then I have a piece of Dapper Denim and Bermuda Bay, and these started out at 2 inch by 5.5. Now when I die cut these, let me get the die out and I'll show you. Okay, one of them I lined my die, well, let me turn it over so it's the way it would be. I started out and I lined it up with this edge, with the left edge. On the other one, I lined it up with the right edge. And that way, when we put it on our cards, it will, the waves will be alternating. They won't be all lined up like this. They'll be alternating. So that's why I did it that way. And let's get started on the card. Oh, no, let's not. Let's finish telling you what I'm going to use. Okay, I have a Stampin Up Shimmery White Embossing Paste. I have some craft acrylic paint, and this happens to be Folk Art by Plaid, and the color is Cappuccino. But any sand colored paint will do. I have a palette knife. I got mine at Michael's. I had I had 50% off, 40% off coupon. I had a good coupon. So I got a nice metal one. Stampin' Up has a nice plastic set of 3 different ones. I have my Aqua Painter, Tombow glue, and scissors, nice sharp scissors, and I'll be using Memento Tuxedo black ink and Crumb cake ink. So I'm going to start out with my Crumb cake ink. Okay. Ooh, that's kind of a mess there. Let me grab a wipe. I have 3 cats, and they each take turns coming in here in my craft room and harassing me. So I get a lot of cat hair and cat footprints and cats chewing on flowers and things going on in my craft room. So, oh, I should tell you what I just did there. To get my ink on my palette, just close up your Stampin' pad and give it a good squeeze, and that transfers ink to the top of your ink pad, and that's what I'll be using as my palette. And I have my Aqua Painter. I'll squeeze that a little bit, get my tip wet, and pick up some of that crumb cake. And just on the lower, about 1.5 inches or so, I'm just going to put my crumb cake. I'm just going to swipe it across there, just like this. And right here, right about there is where my chair is going to go. I want to make sure I get that a little bit darker than the rest. This is all going to get covered with our fake sand, so it's not all that important to make it beautiful right now. Okay, so we can put that away, and then we're going to make our sand. I thought about going out to the craft store and seeing if I could buy a little bag of nice sand colored sand and just glue it on. You would think I would have access to plenty of sand living in South Florida, but unless I want to go to the beach and bring home a little baggie of it, and I'm not too sure how legal that is. The sand in my yard is kind of dirty sand, not what you think of when you think of sand. So I just put a little glob of my shimmery white embossing paste there, and I'm just going to put a couple little globs of my acrylic paint, and then I'll mix that up real well. And now we have some nice sand colored embossing paste. And I'm going to kind of leave this little area alone, but I'm just going to glop that on there with my palette knife. And put a little bit across the bottom here. That's going to be the shadow for our chair. You see? Just glopping it on. And you think, oh man, she's really got a real mess going here. Well, yeah, I do. Just wait, it's going to get messier. Okay, so now you could take your finger and just go like that all over it to spread it around and texture it. Or you could take, if you don't want to get your finger messy like I did, you could take one of these bits of the sponges that Stampin' Up sells. And they're kind of a rough texture, and you could just go like this, and that'll give you a nice sand texture too. Okay, so there we go. We've got our nice sand. Can you see the texture on that? Looks like sand, huh? Okay, well now I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to go away for a minute or in a few minutes. That's going to give this time to dry, and I'm going to clean my table and my tile that I used here and my palette knife and my sponge up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I think our nice textured sand is at least dry enough to continue on. I've cleaned up my mess. So let's start tearing some paper. Okay, we're going to tear this one, we're going to tear this one, and we're going to tear that one along the bottom. So let's start with, I'll start with the white. And it does make a difference whether if you tear up or if you tear down. So tear towards you, and we just want nice, rough, uneven edge there. This is going to be our surf coming in. I'm going to do the same thing with the mint macaron. And with the Bermuda Bay that we've die cut. Okay, I obviously can't talk while I'm tearing. So, I'm going to stamp the sentiment, the Just Breathe, next. And that will help me to place my, all my little waves here. So I know I've left plenty of room. Hate to get all the waves on and find out I couldn't put my sentiment on. We're going to put that way up in the top left corner. Right there. There we go. Some of it didn't get inked up real well. So I'm just going to grab my black Stampin' Right marker. With the small edge, I'm just going to fill it in a little bit. Well, you know what? You don't need to watch me do this. You get the idea. If it doesn't stamp real well, if you've got the black marker, you can fill it in, touch it up. A lot of times I just I'll use a stamping platform for this type of thing, and this would have been a good time to do that. Okay, so on my Dapper Denim waves, I'll put some Tombow on the back. And take them. I'm going to put them just below that Just Breathe. Try to get it as straight as I can. Across my card. And then next will come my Bermuda Bay. Ooh, no, that's not right. I have to put these down first. Let me put my white down. Oh my, I almost told you wrong. I'll put my white down. And you'll notice they are extending past the edges. We're going to trim them off in a little bit. Then I put my mint macaron down. And we're going to let just a little bit of that white show. That's just the edge of the surf. And now we can put our Bermuda Bay. And that will go right here. I'm going to offset the waves a bit, and there we go. Now I can turn it over. I'll take my scissors and trim it off. Oh, by the way, there's two things I didn't tell you needed when I would first start the video. And one is we're going to need some snail, and we're going to need some Stampin Dimensionals. Or if you're sending this through the mail, you can just cut a piece of craft foam or fun foam, whatever you want to call it, just a little bit smaller than this piece of Whisper White we're gluing everything down on. Just a little bit smaller. You glue that on to the back here, and then just glue it down on your card with your Tombow glue. That way it won't get all smooshed in the mail. Okay, so now we're ready to put our little chair on. And just wherever I can find a little spot to put it, put some glue. I'll put some glue. It's not necessary to do the whole thing. And that will go right here where we left our little shadow. There. We're almost done with the card now. Isn't that cool? Look at the nice glittery sand on it. Okay, so this is where the snail comes in. I just ran snail across the top of my inside piece. You've seen cards like that where it's just got a little piece kind of half loose inside. We're just going to put that inside the card and center it. There we go. And then I'm just going to put a couple on here. You're going to want to put more on, but I don't want to make you watch me put 20 Stampin Dimensionals on here and peel that backing off. That's as boring as all get out, isn't it? So peel them off. And we'll stick this on the front then once I get that done. There we go. And I'll just put that centered on the front. And our card is finished. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've had, then be sure to hit that like button down below, because I do check those things, you know. If you have any questions about what I've done, or what I've used, or just any kind of questions or comments, you can leave those down below also. If there's any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase, I'd be thrilled if you used me as your demonstrator, and you can do that either through my blog or my Facebook page. And as always, I'll have all the stuff just down below there, listed below. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.